Soup. 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 I got eyes on a target. 12 o'clock, about 400 meters.
I can't make out anything in this darkness.
Get the thermal.
Let's take a look. Light him up like Christmas.
Alright. Got a target. Positive ID.
Positive ID on him out there behind the tree.
Right, copy. Take the shot.
Alright. Wait, I've lost him behind the truck. I can't see anything through the glass with the thermal.
Steady. Steady.
I see him. He's running.
Steady. Steady. Take the shot.
Got him.
Take the shot.
Goodbye. Good night.
Positive kill. You got him.
He's still twitching.
Take another. Just be safe.
Good night.
That's a positive kill. Captain Bryce, this is Ghost. Mission accomplished. We're exfilling at 0300 hours. Ghost out.
Sup guys, this is Jake Woods TN Tactical Country with a special optic review. Today, we're looking at the TS-35-384 Rattler made by AGM. This is a thermal optic sight that you can actually use on a rifle or can be handheld as sort of like a little spotting scope that you can get today for the cool price of just under $3,000. So yeah, kind of a lot. This was actually sent out to us by our good friend, Brody. Thank you again, Brody, for sending this out to us. We've been playing around with it. This is actually our first experience with thermal, and I gotta say, it is pretty freaking awesome. So today, we're gonna give you a full breakdown on this thermal optic, all the features it has, as well as just talk a little bit more of a general discussion about thermal in general and why you may want to look against something like this, even though it is a little bit more expensive.
There's not enough visual interest. It makes me sad. I hate it. I hate this. Maybe if I go like this and get like a weird top-down angle?
Like this?
No.
Welcome to Meal Team Tactical.
So I'm not going to kid you guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I am pretty much an illiterate monkey when it comes to thermal. I couldn't give you an honest review about all the like how good of a thermal optic it is because this is the only thermal I've ever actually used. That being said, as someone with no experience or background in thermal technology, and this cat that I have here, well, I can tell you, oh, come here. I do have this cat. And with that cat, you'll notice there are also white hot spots and black spots as well, much like thermal. Because of that, I do feel like I am qualified to make this video for you and to give you my experience as a newbie to thermal, what I think about this particular optic. Hey you, yeah you, I see you, looking at me, looking at you, looking at me. Do me a favor, consider hitting like, subscribe. We make good stuff. It's for you, stuff for you. We like you. Look at this dog. You like the dog? I like the dog too. Go ahead and subscribe. So here's what I understand of it, okay? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm using spec sheet here because I've got a learning disability. TS-35, 35 is for a 35mm lens. It's the bigger boy versus the TS-25 they also have. A little bit more expensive, but you got a little bit more field of view with that.
10 more millimeters, in fact.
The 384 portion comes from the fact that the actual resolution is going to be 384 by 288. It's a tiny little thing. It seems all right.
When you smash a postage, I've got to be honest, I want to say that the resolution looks great for it being the size of a postage stamp. Yeah.
And you'll see with the footage that we recorded here, you will see that the quality does come out pretty good. It's like 760p-ish, something like that. Not quite 1080. So let's go through some specs here real quick. The price point does come in MSRP roughly about $3,000. Sometimes you get for a little bit less. Sometimes if you're done, you pay for a little bit more than that. Just depending on the circumstances and, you know, whether there's supply shortage of thermal stuff. We are looking at a refresh rate of about 50 hertz. The cool thing about this is it has a 2x zoom as sort of like the base level, and it can actually go up all the way to a 16x zoom capability. So it can get real up in there. Now you'll notice from the actual footage that we recorded that digital zoom, that doesn't mean you're going to really see anything clear. It is really just a digital zoom. That's kind of how all digital thermal or digital anything is going to be, unless you have like a big old lens on there. If you ever do like video camera work and stuff, anytime you do like a digital zoom, even with the iPhone here, you know, show them real quick here, the quality there, deep zooming in there, you'll see that it's not really that great. It's a little janky. That's just kind of how it is. It gets a little bit more pixely. This is something you're going to want to use and kind of keep more or less kind of steady, because obviously when you're really zoomed in, it gets really hard to track stuff. It does have different crosshairs that you can customize, so you can actually zero the reticle on there. You can adjust all that, and you have a few different reticles you can actually choose from for your own particular taste. Now, it does have like uniformity correction built in automatically, so that way, like depending on what you're looking at, it will automatically adjust sort of like the relative hot and cold areas with whatever you're actually pointed at. Pretty cool. So it's not like you're having to fiddle with that. That doesn't have an autofocus though. You'll have to actually manually focus the lens for whatever distance you're trying to look at. Because of that, this is again something you're going to want to have set up sort of in position, steady, ready to go. It's not really something you'd want to have on your rifle and you're like basically running through a whole bunch of Congo jungles with this thing trying to, you know, rapidly take shots, because it's really just more of a steady marksman kind of optic. We're posted up. We're corner camping. Let's be honest here. We're corner camping somewhere in a building, looking for targets, kind of scanning the whole area with our area of view there. And once we see the target, we're taking it out, whether it be a hog or human. But whatever that target might be, it's going to light up like a Christmas tree. The only real downside to this baby is two things, and they're kind of universal. Number one is it's kind of a heavy boy. It's coming in just over a pound of weight. That's going to be sitting on top of your rail. That's number one. Number two, though, and this is another universal thermal thing, you'll notice when we're taking video, you'll notice there's a sort of like freezing moment where basically the thermal thing has to refresh and reset itself, and it actually freezes what you're looking at for just a split second. It makes a little clicking sound. It's just a thing that happens. There's not really a way of around it. All thermal has that effect. It's just a way of how essentially the system built in has to basically clear its cache, clear its RAM, memory, whatever, and refresh it to keep going. You can see me pretty clearly, especially with this flashlight in my face on the regular camera, but if you ever had to look through glass or any kind of glass structure or something like that, you wouldn't necessarily be able to see through it. So here I am, and then...
Here you're not.
Ooh, spooky!
Ah, yes, this is a much better representation of the limitations of glass.
See that? I'm still waving the phone around. You'll notice the phone doesn't like make me hotter either, right? It's just...
Correct.
It's just photons bouncing off of me.
Well...
Something like that.
Technically it does, but I mean a negligible amount.
So... that is one thing that they got right on that Call of Duty campaign, when you have to take out that one greenhouse and they tell you to turn off the thermal to identify and see if there's any targets in there before you blow it up.
Contact! Check fire. Hassan could be inside.
TV, can you get a visual inside the building?
Affirmative. Stand by. No visual on the target. Appears to be armed personnel only.
That's realistic. I like that. It is waterproof. It's
Let's throw it in the bathtub.
We ain't testing that. Let's just go ahead. We told you the specs. Let's talk about how we really feel about it. As people with literally zero experience with thermal, let me tell you that right off the bat, freaking cool. Just like Call of Duty. I mean, thermal, bam, lights up. You have different modes you can choose from. White hot, black hot, fusion, rainbow mode. There's also red hot as well, which is very similar to the white hot. But for the really hot stuff, it turns red, like dark, evil red. Honestly, though, after trying different modes, the fusion mode with all the different colors is really cool. But as far as practicality goes, I felt that just keeping white hot was kind of the most easiest way to just pick out targets, honestly.
I have a question.
I know what you're about to ask me. And I don't know if it affects me because...
How could you know? Right. How could you?
It could have an impact. I don't know. We're talking about my slight red-green color blindness. The fusion colors may have an impact on me or not. I don't know. Maybe that's why I find it hard to decipher and pick out targets. It's hard to say. White hot, or really black hot for the matter too, but black hot looks weird. It makes Brent look like a scary person. But white hot looks pretty pretty traditional. I like this.
Twilight's last gleaming, and through bright things that are, I don't know. Thermal looks out there and it sees heat. And the cool thing about that is you might be getting visual cues of darkness or, greenery in the forest. And despite the fact that it's day or night and you have this photonic light, light in the visual spectrum coming in, it doesn't interfere with the thermal optic. It lights it up like Christmas, as we said. The beauty of this thing, it really cuts down on the amount of visual information you have to process to acquire a target, which is tactically advantageous. Good stuff. And I actually really have to agree with your assessment on that. I like it. Two things I want to say about the scope, and I'll go. The little small postage stamp sized screen, that's a fun tongue twister, blinds you completely at nighttime. So if you're going to be in a situation where you need to come out of the scope and instantly be able to acquire a close target or something like that, this may not be the guy to go with for you. It's hard to pick up on camera, but you can see the glow on the person's face with your naked eye. Although I'm sure at any range that would be negligible. It does blind you, though, in one eye when you come out of it, so be ready for that. The other thing is, if you're using it in the day, of course, the front of the scope is not a traditional lens. It's a silvered convex surface. Very reflective, probably would glint. You'd probably notice it if you had a sharp eye. I don't know that for a fact. Again, it's just thoughts I've had about the situation, and that's really, besides the fact that it's freaking cool, and thanks for letting us borrow it, not much else to say about it. Get one if you can. Why would you not? Why would you not want to see in every spectrum possible?
Guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video there. Remember, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. What do you think about this TS-35 Rattler? I'd love to hear from you. We will see you next time. Rattler. Now this is the now this was a special
and 3 and 2